running through the grave, from the shadows to the street. They decode what the silence means. Click subscribe, let the veil be torn. This is the news we've been waiting for. Turning away, global watchmen leading the way. Every story, every thread, for the living and the misled. Raise your voice, let the signal soar. This is the news we've been waiting for.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. My life has value.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Global Watchman News. My name is Lori Swan. Hope you guys are all doing well. If you're in the live chat, we do this to keep it family friendly. There will be moderators in there to make sure that we stay within the terms of service put forth to us by the platform utilizing tonight. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Take a minute, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you know when we go live. I do apologize for having to postpone last night's broadcast and then change the topic that we're talking about today. But although I do believe that talking about the Noahide and getting that in perspective is important, especially with things that are happening right now, I think tonight's a little bit more important to talk about. And that is the world actually posturing for a world war. Things, if you have followed people like myself for any length of time, you know that we've been putting out warnings that something like this was going to happen. In my case, for over a decade. Those that are familiar with what the Bible says, you can pretty much see the writing on the wall. I had hoped that I wouldn't see these things happening in my lifetime, but unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to see it. So I don't know if you guys have been following what's been going on. It's kind of hard to get the truth if you live here in the United States, and that's because our mainstream media is so censored and so manipulated through the Sinclair group. They're the ones that own the majority of the mainstream media channels here in the United States, and also Israel has for a while now put, I don't even know what to call them, agents, I guess, or I guess for lack of a better word, we'll call them agents. And what they do is they take control of the news stations, basically, and write the script through the Sinclair group. And that's why you see the same thing repeated. Here's the thing is, if you're going to tell a lie, if you repeat it again and again and again and again, not only will you start to believe that lie, but others will believe it as well. It'll become a reality. Some say you manifest it. I don't like that word, but for lack of a better word, I guess we could say that, you know, we manifest the lie to become truth, or become truth in our reality. Okay. Great movie to watch if you haven't watched it is Wag the Dog. That movie, the movie's pretty brilliant. It's about the White House hires a production crew to pretty much broadcast a fake war. And they do it because of they want to cover up a sexual scandal that's going on in the White House. Sounds familiar, huh? And so the people, they see this war taking place. And I mean, how many times have you talked to somebody and they've said the things like, if that was true, we would see it on the news. Or I don't believe what you're saying because I haven't heard it on the news. Or something of that nature. And that's because people don't understand through the Smith-Mundt Act that propaganda is a tool that the government uses against its own people. And we don't even know it. Gaslighting, manipulation, just painting a picture of their reality. when it comes to Israel, I can't believe the number of people that are waking up to the truth about them. I mean, I've been called anti-Semitic. I've been called, I post hate. There's no emotion in the posts that I put up. I don't believe there's any emotion in truth. Truth is truth. As far as anti-Semitic, well, I've gone over this before. You have to be Semitic in order to be anti-Semitic. And in their case, they're not. And we're going to get into that aspect of it as well tonight a little bit. But I can't believe that people are finally waking up. And the thing about that is there's people like Tucker Carlson who are literally taking the brunt of the hatred. So many people dislike him because of the things that he's saying. Cognitive dissonance and Stockholm syndrome go hand in hand. If you don't know what either one of those are, look them up. Because they do, they go hand in hand. We have been conditioned and gaslit and brainwashed for literally decades. Since before Israel was a state. Schofield actually, when he wrote his Bible, the Schofield Bible. Now, the Schofield Bible is a King James version of the Bible. The problem with the Bible is his notes. The notes that he has added to the Bible, that's the problem. Schofield was the one who started, even before Israel became a state, pushing the Zionist BS and twisting Genesis. And you'll hear people who will come at me and they'll be like, that's replacement theology, that's wrong. Actually, no, you're the ones that are pushing the Jews are the ones that are pushing the replacement theology. They're trying to replace themselves where Christ is. God's covenant was with Abraham and Abraham's lineage. Through Abraham's lineage, we get Jacob. Jacob, God changed his name to Israel. That's where Israel comes from. Not a landmass, not anything like that, but it through Jacob. And through Jacob, we get Jesus. So all of this has to take place because in the book of Revelation, we hear about things that happen during tribulation. Antichrist comes, the 7-year peace treaty. Well, we can't have a peace treaty if we can't have a peace treaty if we have peace. The objective right now is that they are trying to make and create as much chaos as they possibly can. And they're trying to push for however they think that they can do this, but they're trying to push prophecy to unfold. A couple weeks ago, I talked about how the military, the U.S. military, was talking to their leaders, or the leaders were talking to the ones under them, saying that God has ordained President Trump to bring forth this chaos so that Jesus can return. I don't know where they think that they have the ability to manipulate God or to cause him to move up prophecy. God's a little smarter than that, I think. I'm sure. But that's what's happening right now is that they're causing this chaos, and through this chaos will Okay, so Iran is waiting. Iran and Israel are both waiting for their Messiah. Um, Iran is waiting for the Imam, and Israel is waiting for, well, the Messiah, because they didn't recognize the one when he came. So, but the war with Iran is not about power or oil or anything like that. It's about chaos. All sides see this as a messianic war to cause as much turmoil and chaos as possible to usher in their version of the Messiah. So Iran is fighting. Iran's fighting is rooted in what's known as the 12 Shiite doctrine, which holds that global chaos will precede a messianic era. They believe that a hidden imam, believed to have been born in 1157, or I'm sorry, born 1157 years ago, and is still alive, will reveal himself after widespread disorder and return the world to order. He'll bring order out of chaos. Israel has the same goal. They're awaiting the first coming of the Messiah. In Jewish, one second. In Jewish belief, the Messiah, known as the Mashiach, has not come and is expected to arrive as a human leader to usher in a future era of world peace and spiritual redemption. Now, here in the United States, military leaders, like I said, they recently urged their leaders to tell our troops that this was all part of God's divine plan, and specifically referenced numerous citations out of the book of Revelation referring to Armageddon and the imminent return of Jesus Christ. Now, these people truly believe that they are doing the will of God, and somehow they can provoke prophecy. One problem is that this is they're not bringing peace. They're bringing in an antichrist who will promise peace but will bring destruction. And a perilous time for Christians is coming. This imam, or this false messiah, this antichrist, is going to wage war against us. And he will demand worship. And he will demand us to take the mark. And he will control everything we see. And I do believe that AI is going to play into this role. So we've been watching the United States go after Iran. Personally, I think that this should have been done years ago. I don't understand why they allowed Iran, whatever. But I think this should have been done back in the hostage, back in when they had the hostages for 444 days. Something should have been done about them then. But unfortunately, we had a pussy president by the name of Jimmy Carter, who would rather put a wreath on Yasser Arafat's grave twice than to go up against anybody over there to protect or to defend this country. So that was the reason why he didn't do anything about it. And when Reagan, I think it was even before Reagan took his oath as president, that the hostages were released, because they knew that Reagan was not going to pull any punches. That's what happens when you have a strong president, when you have a strong leader. I'm not too sure about Trump. I'm still going to stand behind the fact that I do believe that he's Israel's bitch. And I'm not even going to apologize for saying it like it is, because he is. There's no reason for us to be over there. None whatsoever. Yes, I think, like I said, it should have been done back when the Iranian hostage crisis was taking place. But as of right now, we've been fed a bunch of lies. Personally, I think that Israel is blackmailing Trump. I think they do have all the the unredacted Epstein files, and I do believe that they have him by the short and curlies, and it told him, if you don't do what we want, we're gonna release all that. Which is interesting because Israel, Tel Aviv is porn hub of the world. So it's stuff that they promote anyways, I guess you would say. So, okay, let's pull up. So let's talk about the countries, because I know it's confusing to know who's actually involved. Let's do the share screen. Yeah, here are the countries. So here are the countries that are currently involved in the conflict or the war. I guess it's. I personally think that we can classify it as a war. It's not a conflict. Now I'll tell you why in a little bit when we get into it. Okay, so this is the war in Iran has rapidly expanded beyond the Middle East, pulling the U.S. allies and bystanders alike. The big picture. Since the U.S. strikes began a couple weeks ago now, Iran has retaliated against Israel and multiple Gulf states, plunging the region further into chaos. U.S. embassies across the region remain on high alert, with the State Department urging Americans to leave immediately. Okay, this was a while ago, but this is relevant. So the countries that are involved in the war, of course, the United States. President Trump ignited the conflict with a massive military operation aimed at destroying Iran's nuclear program, its missiles arsenal, and its proxy networks, and ultimately forcing regime change. Well, we know that they did take out the Ayatollah. At least 6 U.S. service members. Now, this was right in the beginning. I don't know. I know we're being lied to about the number of casualties. I know that for a fact. So I'm not even gonna read this line because it's irrelevant. And it says the Israeli attacks killed the supreme leader Ali Khamenei, along with dozens of senior Iranian officials. Okay, so they replaced him and they killed that guy too. So I guess we're on our third one now. So, okay, so the United Arab Emirates, the U.S. ally has absorbed some of the 800. Now, mind you, this is when it first started. So Iran went after the UAE. And we've seen a lot of destruction in Dubai. And I know that Iran has a lot of drones, and we'll talk about that too. Iranian drones struck a luxury hotel in Dubai's Palm Jumeirah and ignited fires in the big port there, one of the region's most crucial commercial hubs. The UAE closed its embassy in Tehran, and it's definitely retaliating. Qatar is a tiny Gulf nation which is historically and has friendly ties with both the U.S. and Iran. But it did suspend most of its natural gas production after Iranian drones struck 2 of its energy facilities. Qatar Air Force also shot down 2 Iranian fighter jets. That was what happened when that first started. I mean, you shoot down a country's military jets, and you can't very well say, "Oops." Yeah, we don't want to get involved in this war. You just shot down one of our planes. So basically, they're going to be involved. Kuwait, Iran attacked Kuwait on the day after, the first day of the war, in an attack that led to the first American deaths, because they went after the base there in Kuwait. U.S. officials said American fighter jets were mistakenly downed by friendly Kuwait fire on the first Monday of the exchange, and that's when all 6 were killed. Bahrain, Iran targeted U.S. bases in Bahrain with videos. We saw the smoke rising from the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters, and we know that was destroyed as well. Iran drones hit several residential buildings in Bahrain's capital. Okay, Iran expanded its strikes to include U.S. bases in in Oman on the second day of the conflict. And so that pulled them into it. Saudi Arabia, Iran targeted U.S. bases in Saudi Arabia on the second day of the strikes. And so that pulled them into it. Jordan, Iran fired missiles and drones at U.S. military installations in Jordan. That pulled them into it. Lebanon. Now, Jordan. Jordan plays an interesting part in this because if you look into the Greater Israel Project, which is what Netanyahu is using. He's using this conflict to further that. And what that's going to do is he wants Jordan. He wants to annex the land of Jordan to include that into the Greater Israel Project. So we need to keep an eye on Jordan. That's one of the places that I know Netanyahu truly has his eye on. So then in Lebanon, Hezbollah entered the war on Iran's side, launching missiles and drones at Israel on the first Monday there that we had it. And they, again, responded. So then we've got Cyprus. Drones struck the British Royal Air Force Base in Cyprus, pulling the UK and the European Union into the conflict. Azerbaijan, Iranian drones hit a local airport and civilian areas in that country. So that pulled Azerbaijan into it. The United Kingdom, after the Iranian drone struck the U.S. base in Cyprus, Prime Minister authorized the U.S. to use British air bases to strike Iranian missile sites and dispatched the Royal Navy destroyer and counter drones helicopters to the region. France and Germany. Both EU powers initially called for a return to negotiations. They wanted to pretty much stay out of it. They were thinking, okay, we're going to leave the door open. We haven't decided if we're going to strike Iran or not. But then Iran decided to hit their personnel, including a German army camp in Jordan. And so that pulled them into it as well. So we've got pretty much the entire region. I was going to pull a map, but I didn't. The entire region of the Middle East into it, whether they really wanted to or not. But you know what? They're there. So now Japan. Okay, so Russia and China are on the side of Iran, which of course we knew that was going to happen. North Korea also is on the side of Iran. Now, North Korea is using this. He's using this to pretty much justify his nuclear program. He feels that now he has the go-ahead, or he doesn't need a Mother May now, because he doesn't feel secure in the fact that he's not going to be attacked. His main concern is to protect his regime, as crazy as a regime as it is. So he's going to continue to move forward with his nuclear program, which that's like giving a little boy a firecracker. Eventually he's going to light it because he's crazy. Yeah, but Japan wanted to stay neutral in it, and it wanted to kind of do negotiations to try to get the Strait of Hormuz open up, and they were looking for a way to hopefully, do it in a diplomatic way. But unfortunately, it says here, several European nations and Japan have issued a joint statement saying that they would take steps to stabilize energy markets a day after several strikes on energy facilities in the Gulf region sent oil and gas prices soaring amid the United States-Israel war on Iran. Leaders of Britain, France, Germany, Italy, and the Netherlands and Japan issued a joint statement expressing their readiness to contribute to appropriate efforts to ensure safe passage through the strait. Iran is letting ships through as long as you're not an ally with the United States. If you're an ally with the United States, you're not going anywhere. So the problem with this is, so when the United States outsourced a lot of our businesses, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot, because the things that we were making here in the United States, we didn't have to worry about a war. We could still get that stuff transported to where we needed it. Unfortunately, now we can't. We don't have that ability, especially with the strait being blocked by ships that are coming here. Not only are we going to see a spike in the gas prices and our energy costs altogether straight across the board, but we're also going to see an increase in the amount that we're spending at the grocery store, because a lot of our stuff is imported. The ports along the United States, you got New Jersey, New York, Delaware, Texas, Louisiana, California. Those are all the main ports that materials come into this country. A lot of food products. When you go to the store, those little stickers that they put on our produce, our fruits and vegetables, take a look at them sometime, and you'll be able to see the country that that specific fruit comes from. So we're not going to be able to move products from other countries to here like we normally do. Now, I've noticed, because I do shop for, I do Instacart on occasion, but I do also do Walmart shopping through Spark. And I've noticed shelves are a bit sparse. Let's just put it that way. I did a shop today, a couple hours ago, and this person wanted a certain kind of salsa, and normally there'd be like 6-8 jars on the shelf, and there was nothing in that place where it was. But then that wasn't the only one. As I was walking up the aisle, I could see there was like places where things should have been that they weren't. So, before I forget, I found a channel on TikTok that I'm going to share with you guys. And it's survival. It's a survival. It's not a prep channel. It's a survival channel. And they talk about survival after the fact of things. And I'm going to start uploading that to you guys, probably over on Facebook. But the videos are just, they give you really good ideas. And the reason why I thought about that was because they were talking about growing fruit up on the roof of your house, or it was actually an apartment building. But I'm going to get those videos for you. I'll start uploading those for you. So we're going to start seeing a rise in just about everything across the board. Electricity, food. We're already seeing the gasoline. Diesel. Diesel. Good Lord. Diesel went up 40 cents overnight about 2 or 3 nights ago. 40 cents after midnight. It came down 20 cents the next night at midnight, but then it went back up again, I think like 30 cents. It's fluctuating back and forth, but it's definitely, it's not done going up, put it that way. All right, so Looking at what's going on with this war and knowing what the Bible is talking about, we know that things are set up. The Bible did predict that there would be a World War III before the end of times. There's no doubt that the World War would be part of the future. Christ plainly taught that there would be a war prior to his return. He did that in Matthew 24, chapter 24, verses 4 through 31. It was. Some hold that he spoke generally of the church age in verses 4 through 14 and spoke of the tribulation period starting as its midpoint in verse 15 through 31. Others believe that Christ spoke of only the 7-year period known as tribulation in verses 4 through 31. But Matthew 24 does talk about the things that were going to come to pass. Which he talks about wars and rumors of wars, for nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. In various places there will be famines and earthquakes. Here Christ makes it very clear that war will play a significant role in the last 7 years prior to his return. So have we gone into the tribulation? I don't know, because I always thought that there was the event that started the tribulation would be the Antichrist showing himself, but I could be wrong. To be more specific, the future does hold at least one more world war. There's nothing in Scripture that says that there will be only a certain number of world wars. World War I and II are not specifically mentioned in Scripture, nor is the possible Third World War. It only talks about the last war that's mentioned in detail, and it's open for interpretation. So John the Apostle was shown what the end times would be like, specifically the last 7 years prior to Christ's return. Now, beginning in Revelation chapter 6, he recorded what he saw concerning the future war. He found what's found in this chapter and contains to be part of what's unfolding, the events that unfold before Christ's return in chapter 19. So Revelation 6, chapter 6, verse 2, chapter 6, verse 2, 4, chapter 11, verse 7, chapter 12, verse 7, chapter 13, verse 4 and 7, chapter 16, verse 14, chapter 17, verse 14, chapter 19, verse 11, and chapter 19, verses 19. Talks about things that are going to unfold before his return. So Revelation chapter 19, verse 11 says, in righteousness, he, Christ, judges and wages war. Revelation 19 says, John saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies assembled to make war against him, Christ, who sat upon the horse, and against his army. Take special notice that it says that the kings of the earth and their armies assembled to make war against Christ. This clearly describes a world war. It also should be noted that the victor in this war is clearly Christ, who seizes the beast, who is the Antichrist, and the false prophet, and casts them into the lake of fire. And the armies that follow them are destroyed. And that's Revelation chapter 19, verses 20 and 21. So although there will be at least one more world war, there's no doubt of the outcome because Jesus does win then in the end. So how did we know what to expect? I mean, the Bible does tell us that, the nations will rise again, come against Israel in the last days. And does talk about the synagogue of Satan. So those two are lined up together. But, I mean, we've also had foreshadowing back in the 1800s. And we did that through a man whose name is, hold on. Let me get it. His name is Albert Pike. There's Mr. Pike right there. Mr. Pike was a Freemason. And In August of 1871, according to the story that refuses to fade, a senior American Freemason sat down and mapped out the next century of human conflict. Albert Pike, a Confederate general turned Masonic philosopher, is said to have written to an Italian revolutionary, his name was Giuseppe Mazzini, predicting 3 world wars, the first culminating in what we know now as World War I, the second unfolding as World War II, both dismantling empires and reshaping global political ideologies, and the third, which I believe we're seeing the posturing of it today. And in this final global conflict, it would transform religion and reorder the world as we know it. The letter was once displayed in the British Museum, and then it vanished. No manuscript has ever been produced. No catalog entry confirmed it. But supposedly, I'll pull this, get him down, pull this up. And though we don't know exactly what the letter to Mazzini said, we know that through the writings of Albert Pike, not just the letter, but in his books, he also laid out what was to come. It says the following letter. Speculation claimed that Albert Pike wrote Giuseppe Mazzini in 1871 regarding conspiracy involving 3 world wars that were planned in an attempt to take over the world. The Pike letter to Mazzini was on display at the British Museum Library in London until 1977. Letter has been claimed by many internet sites to reside in the British Library in London, but they deny it. So Mazzini was an Italian revolutionary leader in the mid-1800s, as well as the director of the Illuminati. Albert Pike, he's a historic Masonic figure, was a 33rd degree Freemason, occultist, Grand Master, and creator of the southern jurisdiction of the Masonic Scottish Rite Order. So the First World War, he said, the First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overflow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of ascetic communism. The divergences caused by the provocateurs or agents of the Illuminati between the British and the Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions, which is exactly what happened after World War I. The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascist and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. And that's exactly what has happened after World War II. So when you hear me talking about the Christian Zionisms and how they have been brainwashed and how they've been gaslit, this is what I'm talking about. When Pike says right here that they needed to become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would then be restrained and held in check. And that's exactly what they have done through the pastors, through the whole teaching of the bastardization, literally, of Scripture. When they try to hijack, or I'm not even going to say they have hijacked Genesis, when the covenant was made with Abraham, when God says, I will bless those that bless thee, and I will curse those that curse thee. There was no Israel back then. And then when he goes on and says that your seed, one seed, singular seed, would be great joy to many nations. Yep, that's Jesus. What the pastors, these mega church pastors, have done is they put Christians in a position where they're going to fight against the truth, and that's exactly what we're seeing now. It's not the Jews that are coming onto my page and calling me an anti-Semite. It's the Christians, because they somehow still believe that people that deny Christ are somehow God's children. I don't get it, but hey, not mine again. So that's exactly what happened after World War II. Zionism rose. They created the state of Israel through the Balfour Declaration. Do you know that Hitler actually allowed Jews to leave Germany? They had to pay, but they were allowed to leave. And the Jews that he went after to exterminate weren't the Zionists. They were the true lineage of Abraham. That's who he was set out to destroy. Not the Zionists, not the synagogue of Satan. Why would you exterminate them? I saw a video the other day. I'll try to find it, and maybe I'll play it. I don't know, maybe after this or tomorrow. But it was I didn't like the concept of the video because it was a guy who went into New York City, or a town near New York City, who these people were all Jews, and none of them worked. Well, none of the men worked, I should say. All they did all day was study Torah. That was it. They didn't work. They depended on the government, on welfare, on their wives to work. That's all they did. And so this guy went in and he started talking to them. And one of the conversations that he had with one of the Jews was about the validity of the current state of Israel. And even he said, it's not legal. It's not from God. God didn't do that. He said, we're not allowed to have a state yet. And he said, which is what I'm saying, is that their time comes after the time of the Gentile is fulfilled. In the book of Luke, it says, Jerusalem shall remain trodden down until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. And that's the second coming of Christ, when Christ brings New Jerusalem. So for the Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the, again, agent provocateurs of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. Between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. And that is Netanyahu. And, well, it was the Ayatollah, but, that regime. And the Middle East. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its honor, all its horror, will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origins of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. The reason why Netanyahu wants the United States involved in this is to destroy us. We're cattle to them. We're nothing to them. He's even said that he will bring us to our knees. I believe him completely and totally. I'm going to show you guys. Oh, actually, no. Let's do this first. So, you know that Trump put out a Trump and Iran they butted heads the other day, and Trump pretty much told them that he was going to go in and he was going to destroy their infrastructure. And then he pulled back and gave them, I don't know, 7 days, something like that. 10 days, something like that. I've been holding my breath because I knew this was coming. And once this happens, I don't believe we can pull back. And I believe that we've crossed the line, and I usually call it the event horizon. I think we've hit that. And I think we will hit that in the next couple of days. And the reason why I say that is because the Pentagon confirmed just was it yesterday? Close up. Share screen. Yeah, this was just yesterday. Pentagon confirmed elements from the 82nd Airborne Division to deploy to the Middle East. Trump is going to put boots on the ground in Iran. Trump is going to invade Iran. Elements from the 82nd Airborne Division headquarters and a brigade combat team will deploy to the Middle East, the Pentagon confirmed in a statement Wednesday. We can confirm elements of the 82nd Airborne Division headquarters, some division enablers, and the 1st BCT will be deployed to the CENTCOM, AOR Defense Department spokesman said, adding that due to operation security, we will nothing additional will be provided at this time. The Pentagon did not provide details of the size, duration, or mission of the deployment. The deployment comes as the U.S. weighs force posture options in the region amid escalating conflict with Iran. The New York Times reported this week that the Pentagon was sending thousands of Army troops from the division to the Middle East. The Pentagon had already begun reinforcing the region, deploying the USS Boxer and thousands of Marines and sailors. The 82nd Airborne Division, based in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, serves as the Army's rapid response force and is often among the first units sent to respond to emerging crises. U.S. Central Command oversees military operations across the Middle East, including Iraq, Syria, and the Gulf. It's never any good when you send in the Marines. So what did Iran do in retaliation? Well, he put out a statement the other day that said that recreation places like, I don't even know, amusement parks, zoos, wouldn't be safe. National parks. We know that they have these sleeper cells already here. They've had them, they've been here for decades. And don't forget, after the USSR dissolved, it was when the USSR, I want to say disbanded, I guess, lack of a better word. The government was in chaos, literal chaos. And the people, the soldiers, and the people that were protecting the nuclear facilities in Russia walked off the jobs. They left radioactive material unprotected. Russia doesn't have an exact amount, or they might just haven't made it public, but a large amount of radioactive material disappeared at that time. We don't know where it went. We don't know who has it. Those are what we think the dirty bombs will be made with. We were told years ago, I don't even know, maybe 10 years ago, that there are dirty bombs in all of the major cities here in the United States. They're just waiting for the right time to release them. Should we take them seriously? Yeah, probably. I'm going to pull up what they put out yesterday. Hold on a second. Let me get to it. This is an AI-generated video. That Iran put out yesterday. Today or yesterday. It sends a very clear message. Take a listen. So not only have they told us that recreational places are not going to be safe, but now they've sent a video showing them attacking in a missile into the Statue of Liberty. Let's not forget, we've still got the Club K missiles sitting off our coast. We don't know where they are. They're on ships. They look like shipping containers. If you don't know what I'm talking about, guys, probably new people here. I know all you old timers, all you OPs, you know what I'm talking about. But let me pull them up. Okay, missiles. Yes. Club K missiles. Club K. It's a Russian-developed containerized missile system disguised as a standard 20 to 40-foot shipping container capable of launching cruise missiles at sea and land targets. Can be deployed on trucks, trains, cargo ships, providing a covert long-range precision strike capability using variations of a caliber missile family. Let me pull up what they look like for you guys. Oops. Oh, Lord. There we go. These are Club K missiles. These are what they look like. These are sitting off the coast on our ships, in our ports, in our train yards, in our ports, on our trains traveling across the country, on a semi. 40 foot containers go on semis, not the 20. The 20 foots they're usually 20. So the 20 foots usually stay in the train yards and in the ports. But the 40 foot are the ones that you see, the big tractor trailers, semis. Those are 40 foot trailers. Those are the ones that we use to transport freight, 40 foot. So you can have one of these going behind a semi going down, I don't know, the freeway. You wouldn't even know it. Called Club K. See here, they look just like a shipping container. But they got a missile in them. And when they're on the ships, they look just like a shipping container. That, along with the missing radioactive material that could be used for the dirty bombs, yeah, I'd say we're pretty screwed. I don't think we're going to go too much longer without feeling the effects of this. Some way, somehow. And I'm not doing this to fearmonger. I'm just telling you the way it is. Yes, and the missing drones. Yes, drones. A lot of people came at me sideways when I was talking about the the fireballs in the sky over the past, I don't know, since this started. I truly believe that Iran has the capability. Oh, and here's another thing. Yes, they did try to take out Diego Garcia. Great Britain, who Diego Garcia belongs to, we use it. They almost lost their minds when it happened, because now they know, because the distance between Iran and Diego Garcia and Iran and London is about the same distance. So they know if they can reach Diego Garcia, they can reach London. And it wouldn't be the first time that the United States has had some sort of, I want to say attack. Back in World War II, there was an exchange in California. A lot of people don't talk about it. You know that the soldiers were killed off of the East Coast as well. A lot of people think that, the war didn't come here. World War II wasn't fought on American soil. It kind of was. What do you want, Hazel? I've been gone to work all day and she's whining. So prepare yourselves. Like I've been saying forever, if you can afford to buy some extra food, buy some extra food. It's not going to go to waste. You're going to use it eventually. You go to the store, buy a couple more cans of something. Be prepared for not having electricity or not being able to afford electricity. There's some really clever ways that you can make a flame to have it for cooking. Just get some, what was it? Cooking oil. You fill up a jar with water and you put about a quarter of an inch of cooking oil on top of it, and you put a wick in there, and you got it. You've got a candle. You can not only can heat up the place, but warm up water too and cook your food. This channel that I found over on TikTok kind of plays into this whole thing, and it tells you how to survive if something, God forbid, should happen. Things that normal people would overlook, like if, say, scenario, let's not go full potato, let's not go full nuke, but say, we do end up getting, bombed or something here or whatever. People normally, what would they do? They would panic and they would go to a grocery store. This channel shows you things that people will overlook. There's things that you can get that in buildings that can sustain you for a long period of time if you know what to do, where to get it, and what to use it for. One building is a bowling alley. There's enough wood in a bowling alley that could sustain you for like 4 or 5 months. It would get you through a winter. That's just one bowling alley. Also has machinery that you could use. The one I watched today was on using a high-rise apartment building as a safe place, because it's easy to control. There's not many ways of in and out. You can see all around it. The stairwell is a choke point. It's quite interesting. Like I said, I'll get that up for you guys. But be prepared. Have an escape plan with your kids and your spouse, your significant other. Know that if when shit hits the fan, we probably won't have cell phones. We probably won't be able to get a hold of anybody. So have a place that you would meet. I don't believe we're going to go unscathed on this. I really don't. Especially because of how much we're hated. So Sunday, I'm probably going to do the Noah Hyde video. I have a bunch of stuff on it. I didn't know it, but Noah Hyde, the 7 Noah Hyde laws, those are categories. There's actual subcategories of each one of those. And like I said, I told you guys, they look biblical on the outside, but when you look at the wording and the belief, because it's based off of Jewish beliefs. and it's supposedly it's based on a covenant that God made with Noah, kind of, and they've twisted some of it, of course. And so they, the first one is you'll have no gods, just the one God, and you won't worship any idols. Great, that sounds fantastic. That actually sounds 10 Commandment. That's good. We can do that. Have no idols and only have one God. That's great. Problem with that is that they consider the worship of Jesus to be an idol. And their punishment for it? Yeah, it's beheading. So it's going to go along with the mark of the beast. I'm going to bring AI into it because AI is going to play into it. Back in the 70s, I used to watch, there was movies, it was about the rapture. And I never watched it because of that aspect of it, because I never believed in the rapture. I used to watch it for the survival after it, how people got through tribulation, because I knew I was going to have to be here. And so I used to watch it for that reason. And what's interesting is that they prepared us for what was going to happen during the tribulation. So I used to watch those movies. But anyways, all right, guys, I'm going to make a cup of tea and I'm going to bed. I'm so tired. Dave's back to work, and I couldn't wait for him to get back to work. Kind of, not a lot. I mean, only because he was getting just bored. He's been off work since before Christmas. So he's back to work. And although I like, I don't have to cook and I don't, but I miss the heck out of him. And I don't sleep good at all. I don't sleep well when he's not home. So I'm exhausted. And he comes home tomorrow night. I told him earlier today, I was like, Saturday, all I want to do is lay on the couch and cuddle and watch freaking movies all day. It's all I'm going to do. I'm going to order a pizza for dinner. I don't care. I am not working. But, so. All right, guys. That's all I got. I'm falling asleep. I will see you guys Sunday night. We're talking about Noah Hyde. And then I've got one more planned probably for next Wednesday, which will be propaganda. I'll do propaganda. So, all right. I will talk with you guys later. Until next time, remember, eyes open, no fear.